Good morning. I'm Linda with Pinky Moss Cakes, Cookies, and Candy. Today's Monday. It's a dreary day outside. We're going to have more rain. We had rain yesterday, and I think there's a little cool front coming through. So y'all know there's only so many days till Thanksgiving. So today I'm making a baked sweet potato pie. And I need to get a sound check from someone. If someone can tell me if you can hear me, please. Can someone just let me know if you have if I have sound? Carla's on the other end monitoring, but sometimes it takes her a minute before she gets the notice that I'm on. Good morning. Welcome to our page. Good sound. Thank you very much, David. Okay, so I cooked, I don't know, it's been a few years ago. I've always made sweet potato pies with sweet potatoes that were boiled. And one day I just decided to bake a bunch of sweet potatoes. And I said, well, I've got these sweet potatoes baked. I'm going to make a sweet potato pie out of them. And if you've never made a sweet potato pie out of baked sweet potatoes, and you love sweet potato pie, you need to try this recipe. So I baked my sweet potatoes in the air fryer. I did that earlier this morning. They're still a little bit warm, but I think I can touch them. And in the recipe that's on our members page, and I will go over this recipe in just a few minutes, but it says 3 medium sweet potatoes. Well, the sweet potatoes that I had were small, so I baked several. And I am going to measure them so I can tell you I'm going to use 2 sweet potatoes. I'm going to use 6 instead of 3 because these are small. Now this one's a little bit bigger, but they smell so good. There's nothing that smells better than like an apple pie or something with cinnamon or a baked sweet potato baking in your house. It just permeates through the entire house. And I'm gonna show y'all how easy these are. I'm just going to cut them in the middle, and you'll see that, get that dark stuff out. And now this is hot. You can see it smoking. You just scoop it out. You don't have to peel it. You just scoop it out and put it straight in the bowl. And I'm not going to get that dark spot there. Now, if there's any little dark spots, you can see how easy that's scooped out. Now, there was a little bit that I left in there that I'm not going to use because I don't want any dark spots in it. But I'm just going to cut these, and then I said I was going to measure them, so I need to put it back in here. So y'all can kind of see how easy that comes off. I mean, it just literally, it just falls off. Or you can scoop it out, either one. But this is the easiest way in the world to peel sweet potatoes. Now, I baked these about 40 minutes. You probably won't have to, depending on the size of the sweet potatoes, is how long you'll need to bake them. I just have to take a little thin knife and check it in the middle after they've cooked about 2/3 of the way to make sure that they're done. And depending on your air fryer, you know, you might not cook it as long as I did, but I cooked these about 40 minutes. See how beautiful that is? Oh, hot, hot, hot. I figured it's going to be about 4 cups, but I'm trying not to get any of those dark spots in there. Now, a lot of times people will, you know, they'll say yams, and there is a little difference in a yam and a sweet potato. In East Texas, we always call them sweet potatoes, but technically, I think there is a little difference in them. But, whew, that is hot. that looks like about 2 cups. So I said 4 cups. It's probably not going to be 4 cups. It's probably going to be about 3 cups. Now, used to when we would cook something in the oven, and I still do it even now, if you're cooking something in your regular oven, I try to make as good a use out of it as I can, because if you've got the oven on, you may as well do whatever you're going to bake, whether or not you're baking regular potatoes or sweet potatoes, or if you're baking chicken and you need to bake some sweet potatoes, well, just put them in there too if you're not using an air fryer, and that way you're cooking more than one thing at a time and saving on electricity and time too. I'm going to go ahead and put this other one in there, so because these are so small. Now I've got a couple over there that I didn't use that I'm not going to use because I've got enough. I just wanted to make sure. And since I didn't measure these the last time I made them, I just figured I'd measure it this time. We'll get this out of the way here. So this is about 3 cups of mashed sweet potatoes. Now I'll tell y'all what I've done. I think I told y'all this before, but I had a bunch of extra sweet potatoes, and I didn't want them, it's on the outside, I didn't want them to ruin, so I baked them and went ahead and put some sugar and butter in them and salt, and I cooled them and I put them in the freezer. And all you have to do when you take them out of the freezer, like if you have, like if you bought a half a bushel or something, sweet potatoes on the side of the road like we have here in East Texas, they sell them at this time of the year all over the place. You can go ahead and get everything ready for your pie and just add your a little bit of melted butter and some vanilla and your eggs and milk, and you've got your potatoes already done. So that's another thing that if you're cooking them and you know you're going to have pies for Thanksgiving and Christmas, go ahead and cook them all at one time, and you can just put that in the freezer and have it ready for your pie. Let me take that little bit of dark stuff out there. Okay, let me move this. And I have got 1 1/3 cup of sugar. I think I'm done with these gloves. This is granulated sugar. I'm going to add this to it. And I'm going to do just probably about a half a teaspoon of salt. Salt always makes everything taste better, and there's a lot of recipes that maybe don't call for salt, but if you've ever eaten something somewhere and it tasted bland, there's a good chance they didn't have any salt in it. And just a little bit makes a difference. I'm putting 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon in here. And if you have the Cinnamon Plus that Pampered Chef sells, you can use that instead of using nutmeg. I'm just going to put just a sprinkle of nutmeg in here. If you've got pumpkin pie spice, you can use that. Or if you want to use nutmeg and cloves, allspice, just a teeny bit of each, you could do that. But I'm just using nutmeg and cinnamon is what I'm using. And I'm going to get my milk here. I need a half a cup of milk, and this is canned milk. This is a store brand. You can use whatever kind you want. So I'm just going to pour this in here. And we're going to mix all this together, and I'll show y'all how I did my pie shell in a minute. I've got a half a stick of melted butter, and this is salted, and you may wonder, well, you put salt in it. Yes, I did, but I do keep unsalted butter, but for the most part, I use salted butter. And if y'all don't want to, you can use unsalted or whatever you've got in your house. You know, when we do these cooking shows, we cook the way we cook in our kitchen. You know, most people will change something anyway. You know, they'll change a recipe here and there. And if you want to do that, then you certainly can do it. But I use salted butter, and I also put a little salt in it. And I've got 2 eggs here, and I use large or extra large, whatever I can get. I've been hearing that they're going to have a shortage on eggs, and I sure hope they don't, because you can't hardly cook without eggs. Now I'm just going to mix all this up with the mixer, and then we'll add some vanilla. It smells so good. Anything with cinnamon tastes good. At least in my house it does. Okay, now you can see this is kind of thin because, you know, it's got the butter and the eggs and the milk in it. And I'm just gonna pour about a teaspoon of vanilla in this. Vanilla's like salt. It's always better with vanilla. I've got my oven on 375. You want to always preheat your oven unless the recipe tells you to put it in a cold oven. It always helps the baking process if you will start it in a preheated oven. So I'm going to get my pie shell over here. Now this pan is hot, and that's why I've got these things here. I've got a piece of parchment down on here. I don't think it's going to run over, but I just do that with, you know, when I'm cooking something, just to keep it from running over. I did pre-bake this pie crust. This is a Pillsbury rollout pie crust. You can do a homemade if you want to. You know, we make homemade pie crust all the time, but I also keep these in the freezer. They save time, and they are good pie crust. They're Pillsbury, the kind that comes 2 in a box, and you just roll them out and use them. So whatever suits your fancy with that is good too. So I pre-baked this on 450 for 8 minutes, and I used an air fryer liner and pie weights. And I sprayed my pie pan with spray, although I don't use spray very often, but I did spray that, and these liners are great to put your pie weights in. I'll show you the pie weights in a minute. I used to put a cake circle down, but these hold the pie weights because they've got the sides on them, and I really like to use the liners for that because it's not just flat. It has a side on them. So let's get this in the oven. Let's pour it in here and get this in the oven, and then we're going to make some fun little things to go on top. Now this is going to be a pretty nice pie. It's not going to be a small pie. This is a 9.5 or something inch pie pan that I've got this in, and it's kind of deep. So it smells really, really nice. I'm just going to kind of shake that a little bit, and we're going to put it in the oven and set the timer for, let's see, I think it says 25 minutes. I think it's going to take longer than that, but what you do is you take a little thin knife, and I'm going to put some decorations around the side. You can just stick it right in the middle. If your knife comes out clean, your pie is done. If it doesn't, then you need to cook it a little bit longer. So 375 degrees, and I'm going to cook it. I'm going to set the timer for 25 minutes, and then I'll check it. Okay, my timer set. Now I'm going to move some of this, and we're going to make some cute little leaves to go on top. Most people that make a custard don't put a top on it. You know, this is a custard pie, and they don't put the top on it. I like crust, and I like to kind of dress up my pies, especially around holidays. So I like to make cute little leaves to go on them. Y'all give me just a second, and I will get that set up. So I've got a baking sheet lined with parchment. I've got my pastry mat here. And this is just a piece of a pie dough that, pie crust that I rolled out this morning. I put a little bit of extra flour on it and a little bit of flour on my pastry board. And you do have to watch these because they're very thin and they will burn real easy. So you just want to keep that in mind when you're fixing these. And I'm going to try something different today. Y'all have seen me paint cookies before I baked them to give it like a crackling effect. And I'm going to do that today with this pie crust. I don't know if it'll turn out or not because I've never done it, but I'm going to try it. So I'll do some with the crackling, or with the, not the crackling. This is, it's a gel color. This is bright white. I have orange. Couldn't find it this morning. I'm going to use some green and some white, and then I have some little glitter that I can color it. And I've got some little cutters that I'm going to use. Let's see, where are they at? Where are my cutters at? Okay. Get my little, I've got a little leaf here. This is a little pumpkin. And then this is a maple leaf. Now these look, they will cook smaller because they shrink. And I think I'll use 3 different kinds. And I've got some brushes here that I'll brush that on when I get to doing that. So, and you can kind of use the circle to kind of know how many you're going to need. Of course, this is not as big as the pie itself, but I'm going to alternate between the pumpkins and the leaves. And this is not a pumpkin pie, it's a sweet potato pie, but it still makes a cute little decoration to go on top. Just kind of fancy it up. And a lot of people put whipped cream on their sweet potatoes or pumpkin pies. And I was mentioning earlier, we didn't do pumpkins when we grew up because we had sweet potatoes, and so sweet potatoes is what we had when we grew up, and I tend to eat what I ate when I was a kid, and so I love sweet potato pies. And I will eat a pumpkin, but my preference is sweet potato. Okay. Now you can get cutters usually anywhere in the stores at this time of year. Let me do some maple leaves. At any craft store or Walmart or, Hobby Lobby or Michael's, whatever you've got in your area. I think there's still some Joann's around, or you can order them from Amazon. But most of the time, you can get this at your Walmart, especially around the holidays. You can get like a package of cutters that has different things in them. And I'll do a bunch because, just in case some of them get too brown, you're only going to cook these probably about 6 or 7 minutes. And you want some extra ones just in case. And some of these I'm going to paint, and some of them I'm going to leave blank just in case the paint doesn't work. And you can see how thin this is. I actually rolled this pie dough out a little thinner than it came in the package. And normally I would re-roll this. I'm not going to do it right now because I want to go ahead and paint this. I'll just set this over to the side, and I've got another pie dough crust there in case I need it. But so this is kind of how I judge about what I'm going to need. I'll just make a little diagram, and I know that people laugh at me because you know, I make diagrams when I pack a car. If I've got a lot to put in a car, I'll do an actual diagram on a piece of paper, and whoever's loading my car, it's got to be loaded the way the diagram goes. If it's not, then it's not going to fit. And you know, I've had a little bit of experience in packing cars and suitcases, so it's kind of funny because I guess some people would probably think that I was a little bit OCD with it. I probably am, but anyway, it's you know, when you travel for a long time and you packed a car every few weeks and you had a lot of stuff in it, you pretty well learn how to pack a car. So I'm just going to do a circle around here with the leaves just to kind of you know, kind of know about how many I'm going to need, and I just alternate what I'm doing here. I turn the stems one way and then I turn them another way. Now keep in mind that this is going to shrink some, so you'll need to have a few extra ones for that. And congratulations to Andy and Jessica. Grace and Roy's grandbaby was born on her birthday, Friday. So little Athena Grace was born, Charles and Linnell's great grandbaby. Beautiful little girl, and we're all very excited to welcome her into our family. Just a precious little girl. We don't have as many girls in our family as we do boys, and we love all of our babies, but we were so excited that the Lord blessed them with that beautiful child. Okay, I guess I'm probably taking a long time doing this, but I just kind of wanted to show y'all how I know about how many I need. And I'm making this a little bigger circle, so I'll make sure that I've got enough. Yes, that was all the maples I had. Okay, so let's see. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So that's 26, and I've got 10 extra. So I think that should be plenty for that. Now I'm going to, I think I'll get a clean paper plate to put these on, because I don't want to get this mat, I don't want to get coloring on this mat. So let me get a clean paper plate, and we'll do some painting and see how it works. Looks like the rain's fixing to start pretty soon. These mats clean up so nice. You just fold them up, put them in the sink and wash them and dry them, and they're ready to go again. Okay, I actually am going to just paint them right here on this parchment paper, and I'll put a little bit of paint on here. This is AmeriColor, and it's bright white. It's gel. Well, this is not gel. It's food coloring. And I'm just going to put a little bit out on here, and I'm going to mix a little, the same brand. I'm going to mix a little bit of this green in this white, so it's not just all white. I've got two different colors of green, I believe. Is this two different colors? Yeah, it's two different colors. Forest, and well, that one's not open, so I'll just use this one here. So, I've got two brushes here. Now on cookies, this gives it a speckled look after it's baked, and I'll find out if this works on pie crust or not. Let's see, I guess I'll do the leaves and not the pumpkins, because I don't think the pumpkins would be green. It's kind of sliding on there, so maybe I should do it on here instead of on there. Okay, so I'm going to put the pumpkins on here. I'm not going to paint them. Whoops. Stuck my hand in the paint. I guess I could do that instead of painting them. Just, that was a lot on there though. That's wet. I think that one would probably do right. And you can also bend these leaves and make them. I wasn't planning on getting that on my fingernails. I'll have to scrub to get that off. You can kind of cook them, bend them and kind of cook them at an angle so they're not just completely flat. You can do that also, which gives it a little bit different shape. I do that with fondant when I'm making fondant flowers. And I'll probably do a little bit of sprinkle them with a little bit of butter. I mean, not sprinkle them, but brush them. The ones that I'm not painting, I'm gonna put a little bit more green in here. I don't want them to look like they're spring. I want them to look like it's a fall leaf. Should have brought some red in here for these maple leaves. I'm not an artist, but I love doing these, painting cookies and giving it like a little special effect. I can tell you that kids love doing this too. We've had so many cookie parties where kids got to paint cookies and or fix cupcakes the way they want, and it's so much fun for kids. You know, kids get bored real easy, and they have to be entertained, and this is something that is really fun for kids to do. Should have picked those up one at a time. I love this little thin gadget here. I got this at Home Goods. You never know what you're going to find at that store, and it's always so fun to look to see what they got. And I am going to really want to get that red. I don't think I have it over here. Let me wash my hands, and I'm going to run in there and grab a thing of red real quick to put some on those maple leaves. I think the rain has started outside. It looks like it is. I need a room in my house with nothing but cake decorating supplies in it. Mary and I are always talking about if we could design a kitchen or a house, and I would have one room with nothing but storage for baking supplies, and this is red, and I'm just going to add a little bit in here for the maple leaves. Yeah, that's kind of thick. Probably need to be thinned down just a little bit. And that's going to look brown. That's not going to look real red. You can thin this down with glycerin if your paint gets too thick. I'm going to stick these in the oven and set another timer so I can watch these. And I may need to cut out some more depending on how these cook. If they do okay, then I'll use them. If they don't, I'll cut out some more because I've got plenty. I've got plenty pie dough. Alright, let's put the rest of these on here. And we'll find out in about 5 minutes if this is going to work or not. And if it doesn't, well then I'll do some more because I've never done it with this. Okay, I'm just going to pop these in the bottom rack and set a timer for 5 minutes and check on them. Get some more of this gel off of my hands. And let's go over the recipe with y'all. Okay, so if you're using medium sweet potatoes, you're going to need 3. If you're using small, I would use 6. If you want to bake them in the air fryer, I baked them on 400 for about 40 minutes. And again, it's going to depend on your temperature, your air fryer, and how long you bake them. If they're big, you're probably going to have to bake them about an hour. 3 medium sweet potatoes baked. And the way I did those, I greased them with Crisco. That's what Molly always done. And it just makes them, taste better. 1 1/3 cup of granulated sugar. A 1/2 stick of salted butter melted. 2 large eggs. A 1/2 cup of evaporated milk. That's, the milk that comes in a can. 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. A pinch of nutmeg, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and an unbaked high shell. Now the pie shell, I did pre-bake it. Some people call it blind baking. I used pie weights on it, and I put the pie weights in, and I was going to show them to y'all. I put the pie weights in an air fryer liner, and I baked it on 450 for 8 minutes. These are my pie weights. They're little ceramic balls. Some people use rice, some people use fried beans. You can use whatever you want, but these you can use over and over and over again, and you can get them online if they don't have them at your local craft store or Walmart. Used to get them at, you can usually get them at one of the discount stores like Home Goods or something, but you know, y'all know that they don't carry the same things all the time. This is several packages here. So put a good many in there so that helps the pie crust from coming up. If you don't use pie weights, just prick your crust really good with a fork on the bottom and sides so it won't puff up and be all out of shape. And I baked that on 450 for 8 minutes, and then I took it out and let it cool. And just an FYI, don't touch these little ceramic balls until they cool. They will take the skin off your fingers. And no, I have not done that because I know they're hot. But make sure you let that cool in the pan before you take them out of your pie pan, because if you don't, you'll get burnt. Then I scooped out the sweet potato and put it in a bowl. It was about 3 cups is what it was. If you want to go by that measurement instead of the 3 or the 6 sweet potatoes, it was about 3 cups of sweet potato that was cooked, the cooked sweet potato. And then, let's see, I said the milk, pinch of nutmeg. Oh, I've already said the ingredients. So you just mix all that together in a bowl, and make sure you mix it up. If you use an electric mixer, I prefer to, because I like my stuff smooth and even. But if you want to mix it up by hand or with a fork or with a whisk or spatula, you can certainly do that. I just like to use electric mixer. And then pour it in your pie shell. Set your oven on 375 and bake it for about 25 minutes. Check it. Insert a thin knife inside in the middle to make sure it's done. If the knife comes out clean, it's done. If it's not, then you need to bake it a little bit longer. And then for the little decorations, if you want to put little decorations around it, you can use any kind of a little cutter. It doesn't have to be these. It can be any shape or any size. If you have hearts, or if you have little squares or circles or whatever you have, and you actually can even do this without a cutter. There's lots of things that you can use. If you don't have cake decorating and baking stuff, you can use oh goodness, you could use an apple core, which this makes a little crimp around it. You can even use a bottle cap, so you don't have to go out and buy a bunch of stuff. This is a cake decorating tip. You can also use this if you happen to have one of those. You can use one of them. All right, see, 5 minutes goes by fast. Let me check my leaves and see what they're not done yet. So I will set them on another 3 minutes. Because they will cook fast and they will brown very fast. And I just used an extra pie crust, or if you're making your own, just use the scraps. If you have scraps, to cut you out some little leaves. And like I said, you don't have to have special things. Just look in your utensil drawer and see whatever you've got, and just use that if you don't want to go buy something. A lot of people can hand draw cut out leaves and stuff. I would rather just go buy a cutter than to try to do that. But some people are very artistic and they're very good at doing something like that. So you could absolutely do that. Okay. What is that big beeping? Oh, my pie hadn't been cooking 25 minutes. I don't think it has. Well, it's not done. pie's not done. Okay, you can see in my oven that the pie is not done. So you're definitely going to need to cook it more than 25 minutes. So you can see it's still shaking. So I'm going to set the timer on another probably 15 minutes. So that's going to be 40 minutes. I'll have to correct that in the instructions. So it's definitely going to take longer than 25 minutes to cook it. And I will go in there and fix that. I will be back on in a little while and show y'all the leaves to see how they did, and also to show you the pie when it gets done. Now, one thing about the pie, when it gets done, you want to put those leaves around the top of it as soon as it comes out of the oven before it sets. That way your leaves will stick on that pie filling, and you don't have to worry about it just laying up there and not sticking. So that's going to be the secret to that. As soon as you take your pie out of the oven and you know that it's done, just arrange your little decorations if you put some on it. And if you don't, if you're just going to use it, leave it like it is and make some homemade whipped cream, you could do that also, or use a can of whipped cream, whatever you would like to do. I don't know if there was any questions or not, because I haven't been, I can't really read the questions from me sitting down. So I will, maybe if Carla saw any, she can text them to me after I get off. And I will be back on in just a few minutes when the pie gets done, and put the little leaves on there and show y'all the pie then, and we'll taste it. So thank y'all very much for joining me. Mary will be cooking by herself tomorrow. I have an appointment that I'll be going to, so she's cooking by herself. And then I'll be back cooking Wednesday. And this week is her bazaar, so I will probably cook by myself Wednesday too, just to give her a little bit of extra time. So thank y'all very much, and I'll be back in just a few minutes. Y'all don't forget to join me. Be sure to be kind and always count your blessings. Bye.